cancel on me because last minute, because she had to go and help another friend who was suffering from women's troubles. And I said, oh no, what, period cramps? And she went, no, the other one. And I said, oh shit, are we talking sexual violence? And she went, no, the other one. I said, is it the pay gap? She can't afford to come out with us. She went, no, not that one, the other one. I said, does she want the heating turned up? She went, no. I said, does she speak up in a meeting and everyone at work thinks she's a bitch? No, it's not that one. I was like, all right, I'm going to get this. Is it that she gets charged more at hairdressers? She said no. I said, is it that she gets charged more at garages? She said no. I said, is it that she's 50% more likely to die or be injured in a car accident because seatbelts were designed for the male body, not the female body? She said, no, it's not that one. I said, was she wearing a band t-shirt and a man came up and demanded that she name at least 3 songs? Isn't that one? I said, was she asked to smile while en route to a colonoscopy? She said, not this time. I said, is it that every time she puts on makeup, she's worried that she's complicit in her own dehumanisation? And it wasn't that one. I said, was there a known predator at her place of work, but instead of firing him or dealing with him in any way, everyone just advised her to try not to be left alone with him? It wasn't that one. I said, is it that study that apparently men have a harder time understanding female voices? It wasn't that one. I said, is she worried her boobs are too small because she's never had cause to use the phrase, I'm up here, you pig? It wasn't that one. I said, did she listen to a man at the gym describe himself as a feminist because he believes that some women can be good at maths? It wasn't that one. I said, did she hear about how NASA tried to send astronaut Sally Reid into space with 100 tampons for 5 days and then asked if that would be enough? It wasn't that one. I said, did you hear about that woman who sent a manuscript off to be published under her own woman's name and it got rejected 9 times, and then she sent the exact same thing out but under a man's name and 8 publishers asked to read it and she got 3 offers? So true, so that one's the authority cap. It wasn't that one. I said, was she stopped at traffic lights with her friend in the car and the car behind rear-ended them, which wasn't their fault? But when they went to hospital to be checked for whiplash, the male doctor said, were you nattering? No. It wasn't that one. I said, is she still deciding which of the 2 types of women she wants to be, either sex receptacle or feminazi? It wasn't that one. I said, did her ex-boyfriend tell her she should lose weight? She said no. I said, did her new boyfriend tell her she should gain weight? She said no. I said, did she Google, what weight should I be? And then kind of ended up down an internet rabbit hole full of furious debate and discussion where she actually ended up sort of feeling accused of vanity for even noticing or caring about what weight she was, as if it was somehow her individual responsibility rather than a huge societal obsession with people continually commenting on her weight, whether she wanted them to or not. But it wasn't that one. I said, was she accused of raping men's childhoods because she appeared in Ghostbusters and or Doctor Who? No, it wasn't that one. I said, did she hear about the Matilda effect and all the women in science and the suffragettes who were denied Nobel Prizes because the men really downplayed their contributions? And in fact, the only reason that Mary Curie got to share the Nobel Prize that time was because her husband Pierre said, and I'm paraphrasing, no, this chick I'm married to did loads of the work. Wasn't that one. I said, did she witness a man describe himself as an apex predator and then immediately step in dog shit? It wasn't that one. I said, is it that statistic that if women talk at a meeting for 20% of the time, men remember it as 60% of the time? It wasn't that one. I said, is it that she's underrepresented in TV and films unless she's being murdered? She said, no. I said, is it that she's underrepresented in politics and every job that is considered important or well paid? She said, no. I said, is she sick of always being the one to change the loo roll? She said, it's not that one. Don't worry, guys, we're near the end of the list. I said, did she witness her then 9-year-old daughter call a 5-year-old girl a Karen simply for announcing to the other children that were playing that lunch was ready? And did that then make her reflect about how the term Karen was originally invented by black women to explain to white women how a drastic power imbalance can be lethally weaponised in a racist society, but that now the term has been so successfully co-opted by white supremacist misogyny as yet another synonym for bossy that it's currently being misused to put all women, including as young as 5, back in their boxes, even if they're trying to do something nice, like share food. And she doesn't know what the solution is. She was thinking off the top of her head, like, what if there are different names for different categories of transgression? So if a white woman calls the police on a black man trying to enter his own home, that's a Karen. But if a white woman is sending back cold soup, maybe that's a Carol or a Linda. And then you could be, it's gazpacho, you big dumb Carol or Linda. But even then she's not sure. It still feels like it has misogynistic undertones. She's not sure what the solution is, but she's just thinking, like, do we need to make Karen mean racism again? But it wasn't that one. I said, did she never find quite the right accessories to transition seamlessly from day into night? But it wasn't that one. It turns out she was in labour. Now, I have to tell you, that routine used to be quite a lot shorter. And what happened was 2 separate experienced male comedians saw me doing it and told me that I should try and turn that into a longer bit. So, ironically, if anyone didn't like it, it's actually a man's fault.